My dad and his wife blended their family 7 years ago. Me, 16 male, and my brother, 13 male, come from our parents' marriage. Our mom died 9 years ago. Beth, 15 male, Luke, 14 male, and Laura, 12 male, come from dad's wife's first marriage. My dad and his wife also have Katie, 5 female together. I have a pretty complicated history with learning disabilities. I was diagnosed before my mom died and always struggled with school reading and writing. I use Stick to help me write stuff like this. I can speak fine, but actually reading or writing anything, including numbers, is terrifying to me. It's something that has meant I need a lot of extra help in my school. My mom used to read stuff like menus out to me. My brother actually started doing it when he got better at reading too. It's something I can't hide, and it's embarrassing as hell. Beth made a really hurtful comment the first time she realized, and her mom corrected her. But since she and her siblings were not happy with her mom meeting my dad, and since I would do things differently, like I never did homework at home, they would tease me and taunt me behind their mom's back. I spoke up a few times and it got corrected pretty hard. Eventually it got to the point where I no longer saw the point of saying anything. Around that time it got to the point where I would tell my friends to pretend my step-siblings weren't part of my family or my life, just because I didn't want them to be. I got my license over the summer and got permission to drive my dad's car. I've been bringing my brother places sometimes and suddenly my step-siblings have been trying to be nice to me. I ignore them, and I say no to bringing them places. A few days ago, Beth wanted to go to this dance practice related to the dance classes she does. Her mom couldn't take her because she's sick, my dad wasn't around, and my dad's car was at home though. So she asked me to bring her, and I said no. She followed me around begging and I kept saying no. Luke and Laura joined in and they said we're family and family should do things for each other, and how I never help them out. I told them I only help people I care about, and it doesn't include them. Their mom overheard, and once my dad got home they told me what I said was really unfair and cruel. They took away my ability to drive the car. Dad wanted me to apologize and say that I did not mean it. But I did. I can see they all think I'm wrong for that. Am I in the wrong? And now for some comments. Not in the wrong. Sit down with your dad and stepmom at a time when you guys can discuss alone and emotions aren't running high, and explain your reasoning and how you feel. Your stepmom needs to understand the depths of hurt that your step-siblings have inflicted on you over the years, because right now they probably just view it as typical step-sibling arguments. Not in the wrong. Write it all down in chronological order, similar to what you wrote above. But fill in the gaps with the details of how many years and what has been said to you and how frequent since you last complained to them. Put it all in detail how and where it's said when they are not around. Write down that you have witnesses, friends who heard, your brother, and they can go speak to them to corroborate. Give both your father and stepmother a copy. Write down that you're sad that they failed you and let it happen under their own roof, and that it was their duty to check in on the person they knew had been bullied, not you to go to them. Tell them it's been traumatic for you, and that is why you said what you said. If all you get is an apology, it still doesn't mean you drive them. All it means is that there is a lot of work to be done on their side to build a relationship with you without getting anything in return, until there is respect and trust. Or maybe it means acceptance that you cannot have a relationship. But don't add all of that to the letter. First, you put your story down. Not in a wrong. Hopefully your father and stepmother use this as an opportunity to nip this dysfunction in the bud. She decided not to take no as an answer and has always tormented you. I took my 2-year-old to a play cafe. She wanted to wear her sparkly fairy dress, but as soon as we got there she wanted to try on something from the costume box. I took off her dress, she had base layers underneath, and put it on the chair at the table where we were sitting. We went off to play and then went back to our table to eat. After a few minutes, My daughter starts bawling and pointing at another little girl, a bit older, maybe 4, who was wearing her dress. She must have gone up to our table and taken it. No big deal. Kids are always rummaging through other people's bags. Her mom was having coffee and chatting to another woman. So obviously hadn't noticed her take it and then just assumed it was from the dressing up box. I tried to calm my daughter down for 10 minutes, explaining that it was nice to share our things and the little girl would be upset if we asked her for it back. And I tried distracting her with other things, but 2-year-olds are stubborn, and all she wanted was to wear her dress. She was having such a meltdown that my only choices were to either take her home, in which case I'd have had to ask for the dress back before we left, or to speak to the mom. I found a princess dress from the dressing up box and approached the 2 moms. Explained the situation that it was my daughter's dress from home and it had been on the chair. Apologized, saying that I should have hidden it in our bag, and said, "Would you mind if we did a swap for this princess dress?" I said, "Please take your time. I don't want to upset your daughter. I'll carry on trying to distract mine." The other little girl obviously wasn't happy about having to take it off, but after about 10 minutes of wrangling, the mom got it off and put it back on our table without saying anything. Then she proceeded to glare at me for the rest of the session. By that point, our 2 daughters were playing together, and her daughter had completely forgotten about the dress. But this mom completely refused to engage with me and seemed really pissed. Am I in a wrong? I actually don't really care what random moms think of me, but I also don't want to raise a spoiled child. I just don't know what else I could have done differently, besides having better hidden a dress, which I'll remember for next time. And now for some comments. Not in a wrong. The dress is yours. Forget about that other mom and her crabby attitude. I feel like you already handled the whole situation in a way more thoughtful, compassionate, and understanding way than 99% of the population would. Not in a wrong. I think what you did was fine. She also seemed fine. You say she seemed pissed, but you don't know her. She could be having any number of issues going on. She didn't call you or your child names. She swapped dresses. I don't think anyone did anything bad here at all. Not in a wrong. It is your property and her child took it. And you were very kind in the way you asked for it back and were considerate to the other little girl by telling her not to rush while you were trying to calm your own daughter. She had no right to glare at you. A couple weeks ago, I took a fall and injured my arm. I will admit I have been known for exaggerating things in the past, so my mom didn't believe me. After a few days, I decided to let it go and move on. Self-medication and all that. Anyway, life moved on as normal. Last week, on day 8 of pain, my mom told me I had to clean my room. Pretty understandable, but my room is also used as a storage room, so I was told to move the boxes around as my grandpa was coming to stay and didn't want him to trip on anything. He sleeps in my bed. The boxes are heavy and it really hurts. I asked her to help and she said no. So I pushed through. Didn't do much because, well, it hurt. I devised a plan. If I continued to lift until my grandpa got there, it would probably hurt more and he'd actually react to it. It was a bad idea. I lifted one of the heavier boxes and felt something pull in my arm, and it was white hot pain. Thankfully, he got in literally minutes later. I don't think my mom would have believed me if he didn't. He ended up taking me to the hospital where they told me my arm was broken. They thought it was just fractured, and then I sort of forced it into a worse break by lifting things. My grandpa ended up taking me back to his place, which is pretty cool. My mom feels guilty and has blamed me for not being more truthful in the past. If I hadn't lied previously, she would have believed me and all that. Grandpa disagrees with her, and I did tell him what I had planned. He said it was the wrong thing to do, and I shouldn't plan things purely to get other people in trouble, which is what I'd done. I hoped if it was bad enough my grandpa would blame my mom for it, and she would feel bad. I mean, it worked. I obviously don't like the broken arm side of it, but I guess it's karma for intentionally trying to get my own way. So, am I in a wrong? I know I'm in a wrong, boy who cried wolf and all that, but I still feel like I'm being treated unfairly. I'm grounded for my troubles and had to apologize to my mom. She hasn't apologized to me though, which I think is unfair. And now for some comments. Seriously? OB says he's 14 and his exaggerating in the past has been claiming he doesn't feel well to get out of a test at school? Show me one person here who hasn't done something similar. Nothing excuses his mother flat out refusing to believe him for days when he's saying he's in pain. My 9 years old is also a cry wolf kinda kid, a drama queen and a really good liar. Even so, when she hurt her foot and was carrying on about it, it took me less than an hour to get her to a hospital. Guess what? Fractured ankle. Just because a kid carries on and exaggerates pain, doesn't mean you should ignore the fact they might be genuinely hurt. You literally had to use drastic measures to get someone to believe you. It doesn't matter if you lied in the past. Your mother still should have taken you to at least a basic doctor. You're still a kid. Not really in the wrong. Considering you're 14 and not sure how to get your needs met, I don't think you should be grounded for breaking your own arm other than by malicious compliance. Cleaning your room, your broken arm is the world providing all the feedback you need for that. I'm glad you have your grandpa and can talk to him. Not in the wrong. I don't know what everyone else is thinking here. Withholding medical attention from a minor under your care is literally abuse. Also, boy who cried wolf? OB is 14. Children lie about being sick to escape school sometimes. But as per the added bits, OB's mother is holding against him a visit to the hospital insisted by the school from when they were 6. That's just ridiculous. OB, don't blame yourself for anything. You were injured and needed medical attention. She ignored you and you tried to take care of the situation the only way you knew how. A fracture doesn't just heal on its own. It would have become worse either way. At least it happened when someone was around who cared enough to help you. But you can also start being more honest about how serious your injuries are from now on so that habit won't stick with you while growing up.